If you're looking for a low carb recipe, I've got one for you. We're going to start off with one spaghetti squash, and you're going to cut this right in half. It's a little hard to cut, so make sure you've got a sharp knife. And then we are going to take all of the seeds out. And I just used a knife to loosen them, and then I spooned them out. You can roast these in the oven, just put them cut side down, coat the outside in olive oil, and cook them for 30 to 40 minutes. Or if you have an Instapot, this is the way to go. Just put 1 cup of water in that Instapot, set your spaghetti squash down in there, put the lid on it, and for some of you who are new to Instapot, or maybe you just are interested, you always want to make sure you have at least a half a cup to a cup of water in your Instapot. Put the lid on, it just locks in place. Always make sure it's in the seal position before you turn it on. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to set this to pressure. It'll pop up high, and you just set it for 7 minutes. It'll start preheating and building up pressure, and then it'll cook your squash. Now, over to the stovetop. We are going to scramble up 1 pound of ground turkey or ground beef. I use ground turkey due to my alpha-gal syndrome. After 7 minutes are up, we are going to do what is called a quick release, and you'll just push the seal back over it. We'll release the steam, and you will not touch it until that little button right there pops down. Then you just unlock the lid and take it off, and we're going to let those spaghetti squash sit and cool off. Even if you roast them in the oven, you want them to cool off. And while those are cooling off, we're going to go back over to the stovetop eye. Our ground turkey is ready, or ground beef, whichever you're using. And I'm going to cheat here on spaghetti sauce. I'm not making homemade. I'm using 1 jar of traditional spaghetti sauce. I even put just a little bit of water in that jar and swished it around to get the excess spaghetti sauce out. Now we're going to enhance the flavor of that spaghetti sauce by adding 1 tablespoon of garlic powder and 3 tablespoons of oregano. Yes, 3 tablespoons. We really like the oregano flavor in our household. If you don't like that much oregano, don't give me grief about it. Just add it ever how much you want to, but at least add 1 tablespoon. Y'all, this is so good. Oregano really brings these Italian dishes to life. Let's blend those flavors together and make sure your stovetop eye or your burner is on simmer. And then we're just going to put a lid on this, and now we're going to switch gears and do something else. At this point, your spaghetti squash should be cooled off enough that you can actually handle it. And I just put mine in a bowl and let the moisture drain out of that spaghetti squash, so that when we add it to our spaghetti sauce, it's not going to make our spaghetti sauce soupy. You're just going to grab a fork and just start scraping the inside, and out comes the spaghetti squash. This is so easy, and this is low carb, and that's what I was going for. Y'all, it is that time of year where you just don't really know what you want to eat, and I bounce between low carb to high carbs. But this evening we are actually having low carbs. Are any of you feeling that too? Like it's that time of year you want to lose weight, but then it's so cold you just want comfort food. Well, that's where I'm at. So there is no telling what you're going to see on my page in the next month or so. Okay, but let's go ahead and get back to the recipe. We are going to add this spaghetti squash to our spaghetti sauce. It really is that easy. Then we are going to incorporate that spaghetti squash right into the sauce. We are going to scrape out the spaghetti squash from the entire spaghetti squash. Then we are going to incorporate the spaghetti squash into our spaghetti sauce, just like this. I will be the first to admit this is not a pretty dish. It just isn't pleasing to the eye. So in order to make it pleasing and to make it taste even better, we're going to add some Parmesan cheese right on top. I added anywhere from a half a cup to 3/4 a cup of Parmesan cheese to the top. And voila, this is ready to be served. And y'all, this is so good. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's better than pasta, but hey, if you're trying to lose weight or maybe you're watching your carbs, then this will definitely satisfy your pasta cravings.